And now it's Renovate and Build. 60 minutes dedicated to building and renovating solutions. Here's your hosts, Jim and Sandra.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to the weekend. Today on Renovate and Build, Jim, it's all about preparing for change.
Yes, good morning, Sandra. Yes, we're not just only preparing for the fall, which means ensuring your home is kind of weatherproofed and the maintenance up to date, but we're also preparing for new legislation that will affect homeowners preparing to build or renovate. We're also about change the commercial landscape in Vancouver.
Can we just start again? There's something tapping. Did you hear that? Seriously, there was something banging. Oh, that's why I was trying to make sure it wasn't your pen there. Or you're not hitting anything under there, are you?
No.
Interesting. Okay, sorry.
Let's go again.
I just thought, Are you're snuffed and coughed out?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. You're not ready.
Okay, just turn your head. I'm going to pound him in here in a minute. You turn around and all of a sudden I got him in a headlock. Okay. I heard a noise.
You're crazy. Let's go.
And now it's Renovate and Build. 60 minutes dedicated to building and renovating solutions. Here's your hosts, Jim and Sandra.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to the weekend. Today on Renovate and Build, Jim, it's all about preparing for change.
Good morning, Sandra. Yes, we're not only preparing for fall, which means ensuring your home is weatherproofed and all your scheduled maintenance up to date, but we're also preparing for new legislation that will affect homeowners preparing to build or renovate, and it's also about to change in our commercial landscape in Vancouver.
We'll fill you in on the details in a moment, but first, Jim, I wanted to head to the inbox here on Renovate and Build. As expected, we've had a lot more questions and comments come our way for you to answer today. I hope you're awake and prepared for this one. You got a lot.
Yeah, I'm raring to go. Can't you tell? Okay, hit me.
Have another cup of coffee here. Okay, a quick one. This one's from Rosie to start. She's from Fort Langley. She wants to know more about what she can do to her backyard patio to make it more appealing for resale next spring. She would like to get the work done right away, as she feels landscapers won't be as busy as they are next spring and will do a better job. First of all, she wants to know if her assumption is correct, and secondly, she is having a tough time getting a straight answer from anyone whether it will be better to use for her return on investment, pavers, wood, or exposed aggregate.
Okay, so two questions there. First question, yeah, it's landscape is obviously a seasonal, but in the springtime, it's always a good time to kind of catch the crews and kind of get before their schedules start booking up. And believe it or not, actually in the summertime, I believe landscapers kind of get less hectic, or their schedules get a little bit looser, or sorry, not as full, because everybody's at the beach or enjoying their yards, and they kind of don't want work done in the yards at that time, or they're just distracted from getting work done. So for time of year, I recommend summertime is the best time to get landscaping done, just because it's
not as busy.
It's actually not as busy. Yeah.
How about fall?
Fall again is busy for the landscapers because, like I mentioned, summertime is always distracted, and this time of year, just from our phones, for example, our phone is ringing off the hook for people wanting to get landscape projects done. They've enjoyed their yard, they've kind of seen the flaws in it, and they want to just then say, well, let's get this done, let's get that done. Oh, we need a new barbecue, we need to extend the patio, our concrete's cracked. So now is a really big time for getting landscaping done before the rains begin and it starts getting too cold.
Okay, and what should Rosie be doing for best return on investment for her patio? Is it wood, exposed aggregate, or pavers?
Okay, well, I'll speak to each of those. Exposed aggregate is, great product, been around for years. Am I a fan of it? No. Is it dated? Yes. Is it prone to cracking and all these things? Certainly is, like any other concrete. And I always say to people when they want to compare or install exterior concrete, they say to me, well, how can we safeguard against cracking? Concrete's going to crack no matter what. You put expansion joints in it, you do your prep work, you put your rebar in it, you put your metal grid, but concrete is always going to crack. Wood is like a wood surface deck is always, looks great, functional, probably the most cost effective. Is it going to last forever? No, it's outside, it's wood. Of course, you can use treated wood, but what are the ramifications of that? And then there's pavers, which is my personal favorite, and coming from Europe, I'm a huge advocate for pavers on exterior patios, driveways, because number one, they look the best. They bring the best kind of they look the most elegant. There's lots of designs, there's lots of colors, so you can really personalize it. And like when we install pavers at Fairtrade Works, for example, we actually put a 10-year guarantee behind them, because if there's a hump or bump or get a little settling with pavers, the beauty is you can pop them up, fix them, put a bit of sand, so they're really easily maintained, and you can basically keep them looking perfect forever. And one of the biggest myths about pavers is that the weeds grow through them. It's nothing. Once you prepare pavers correctly, all the subgrades, and put the pavers on top, there's no light, there's no air down there, so nothing actually grows up between it and through the cracks. It's actually airborne seeds and germination that lands in the cracks and begin to grow. But if you get a new install, it's very easy to maintain, a bit of Roundup here and there, and as long as you stay on top of it on a yearly kind of maintenance plan, pavers look fantastic forever. And just a bit of background knowledge about pavers: they're actually invented in the like the peat bogs of Europe, where the roads, where they put a road down, the peat bogs were ever moving and sinking, and then they'd lift the pavers back up, put more gravel and stuff down to lift the grade back up, put the pavers back, so it was like a reusable surface. So that's the original kind of where pavers come from. But I'm a huge advocate for pavers. Concrete's always going to crack, wood's going to rot, it's only going to have a certain life expectancy. If you've got the budget, do pavers. Superior product, looks great, and you can really customize them.
And I guess for resale, though, she's worried about her return on investment. It will determine what level of home she has right now to make sure that she's not over installing as well.
Sure, but the price difference between pavers and exposed wood is not huge, right? So if, like I said, if the budget was stretched to pavers, people really love that product.
Oh, absolutely. So. I think they're wonderful. Okay, next we have a letter from Sean. He and his family just moved here from Ontario, and they've purchased a home that's in around the 1960s, he believes, and he said we have to do extensive renovations, but he said they're really concerned about harmful things like asbestos behind the walls. He wants to know the sequencing, and this is where he's really confused, and I thought this was a great question. He said, does he bring in the contractors to open things up first, or he said, do I bring in the abatement professionals to examine and then get the contractors, because how will they see behind the walls?
Sure. Simple answer to that. Don't open things up or go crazy, because all that disturbance, swinging a hammer, hitting a pipe, asbestos becomes airborne, or if there is any contamination or harmful material, you just don't want to disturb it, because once it gets into the air, it settles, it spreads everywhere, a layer of dust goes over the whole thing, and everything's contaminated, right? So,
and does that make the abatement process more difficult then?
It does, because they have to clean that up then too, right? Like when abatement experts come in, they'll corner off rooms or areas and contain it, and then deal with the asbestos, right? Once it's all spread and germinated over the whole thing, and there's dust everywhere, and it's all gone through the air and landed everywhere, then you're basically, everything that it's landed upon is then contaminated. So okay. You're kind of doubling, tripling the work, right? So, so the short answer is, get an asbestos test. It's cheap, $300, $400, $500, $600 to get your entire house tested. And those guys, and we have lots of great hazardous material testing companies that we use, will go in, they'll cut a bit of drywall. Number one, they know how to look. They'll look at the wrap on the ducting. Is there any exposed in the basement? Is there the window putty, drywall tape? They have a list. They know exactly where to look, and they'll seek that out. Get the small samples, the tiny samples they need to go to the lab, get the tests, and then you know exactly, number one, what the hazardous materials are on your home, and two, the levels of danger, so then you can kind of accordingly treat them. And then it's a great document to have personally in your possession, so then you can kind of, what's there, so when you are getting pricing from abatement experts, you're kind of empowered by what state your home is in as far as hazardous materials.
So very important, don't try to open it up yourself or let another contractor in there to open it. Make sure you know what you're dealing with first.
Get it tested first.
Great question. Here's another great question. This is from Augustine from Crescent Beach. He has a waterfront home, and he said, my home windows leaked last year. I'm sorry, I've dealt with this myself. And he said it caused damage to his flooring. He and his wife called a contractor in the summer to deal with the issue. They had their flooring replaced, and then after a recent storm, he said the windows leaked around the edges again, and he capitalized again. He said the contractor says it's not his fault, that it's a structural issue, and the window company says it was the installation that's the issue. He's so frustrated, Jim, and he says he just wants to know how you would deal with this.
How I would deal with that? Well, yeah, it's like he's stressed, it's frustrating because, of course, this X company is going to blame Y company is going to blame Z company, and that's the construction industry. Oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. So, number one, what's the root of the problem? Number two, is the person trying to find the root of the problem on your side? Is he trying to make money? Is he going to tell you something that you don't want to hear? Or So you need to find something that's trusted, that's not in it just to go and create a job creation. That's going to give you trusted advice. Find out the root of the problem, and at least kind of narrow it down into then who you can, was it the window installation? Is it some framing issues? Is it some waterproofing around the kind of the rough opening? You know, I think find somebody you trust, find somebody that's looking after you, get to the root of the problem, see if there's any paperwork then for the window installation. Did they back their workmanship? Find out the guarantees to chase that, and then ultimately, once you get to the end of the path and end of the road, and there's nothing else to do, if there is money to be spent, you need to get the problem fixed. Make sure you hire somebody that's trusted, qualified, insured. It's going to offer you a guarantee, offer you all the right paperwork. So if you are going to reinvest in this and get it done right this time, that you are backed up with the right warranties and guarantees.
Good advice. Francois emailed and he'd like to talk about basements. He's trying to decide whether to put a rental suite in or make this a full home theater with that space. And he said, I have a big family and it could be a family entertainment area. But he's also debating maybe for resale, maybe as an income earner, it'd be better to put in the suite. So he said he's been listening to our show and about you talking about return on investment, and he wants to know what you think he should do.
Okay, again, without gathering all the data I need, which we do at Fairtrade Works in our free consultations, and because we get asked these questions all the time from homeowners before we engage on the construction process. You know, it's hard to sell, but a trend with raising with home prices is, you know, creating a legal, well-finished rental suite in the basement makes financial sense, right? Do it right, get the right advice, great space planning, make it a space that's going to be very attractive to people that want to rent those kind of properties. And then whether you are going to sell the home or whatever, then people can then know that it's affordable, or they can rent it out, or they have options. Keep their options open, right? As soon as you do install like a home theater or family entertainment area, sure, these are phenomenal spaces, and the cost of home theaters and this kind of entertainment equipment has dramatically decreased over the last kind of 5 years. So it's a great perk, I guess, or bonus if you can afford it, if it's viable for you, if you're planning to stay there for a while. Is it great for resale? It depends on the buyer, right? So I think you're starting to narrow the number of buyers in this market if you are kind of making it your own or putting all this kind of elaborate equipment in there. The basement suite is probably the best return investment that's going to leave the option open to potential buyers. So yeah, it's tricky to answer, but you know, you can't go wrong with a good rental suite for extra revenues. And
a few things that you've said before in the show is, first of all, make sure it's a legal suite, especially for resale and return on investment. And secondly, you've talked before about basement suites have really come a long ways.
Yeah, they had a bad rep, you know.
They were dark and dingy.
In the basement suite, it's noisy. You hear the people above, no privacy. But you know, that's changing. Do some smart space planning, do some sound deadening, get a noise break between the top floor and the drywall below, which can all be done after, you know, during the renovations. And we've renovated many basements where we're actually jacked the house where there's a low ceiling height, where we'll jack the house up, dig the foundation down to create these really high ceiling basements and just make these great spaces. We get lots of light in there, a set of patio doors, a sunken patio, and yeah, I would definitely choose a basement suite where you can drive up, walk in the back, you got some yard space over a cheaply built, overcrowded, unprivate condominium any day, right? So especially, and of course these basement suites you can customize. They're in great neighborhoods.
I know some of the basement suites you've done, the people want to live in their basement after it's done instead of upstairs.
People forget about the basement, but we just built a house on Southwest Marine Drive. In the basement, we built these huge high ceilings, and the entire family spends their entire time in the basement because it's just this phenomenal kind of vast space, and it's just really cozy. You put the movies on, and they got a big play area down there, and they got bathrooms down there, and patio doors leads out to the garden. So in the summertime, they're you know, moving from the kind of inside outside space, so all on the same level as the backyard. So yeah, basements are cool.
Okay, you've done well. Are you holding up okay? Can we continue for a bit here?
Let's
Sorry. People bugging me about making sure we read theirs this week. This one is from Athmika from Surrey. She emailed, and I hope I said that correctly, Athmika. She is asking why so many trades won't come to her home to do small jobs, like she needs her subfloor and her kitchen fixed with some new kitchen flooring put down. And she said, I need a few other small fix-ups. And she said people won't even consider it. As soon as I tell them what my job is, I never hear back from them.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing to hear too. Even when I call trades and contractors, I'll say, "Well, what?" You say, "Oh, I got this job." And this, what is it? And they want to cherry pick and get the best of the best and make the dollar now. And as before mentioned, I think this is kind of a phase we're in even more now in the Vancouver marketplace, where there's so many large jobs, money makers, and commercial buildings and institutional building going on. That if you just want to get some smaller jobs done, and when you say smaller jobs, these are still two, three, five, $10,000, $20,000 jobs. It's really tough to get people to kind of, number one, get them out to take a look at it, and then also get a fair price. Or they say, well, this looks like a bit of a headache. They'll throw these wild numbers out just to kind of make it worth their while. But at Fair Trade Works, our biggest mandate is that we want to be your construction brand for life. And since I've been in business and construction, I've never said no to work, whether it be cutting somebody's grass on the weekend or a tiny repair, because they've always led to something else. And that's why I started Fair Trade Works. So to be there for homeowners, and whether it's a $5 job or a $5 million job, we're going to service that job. We're going to do it right. We're going to get the right people involved, and build those relationships. And these kind of relationships are, is what keeps my business alive and keeps that referral base growing. And it's like your doctor. You should be able to, if you've got a cough or major surgery, you go see a doctor. He's your chosen professional, and that's what Fair Trade Works is all about. We're your chosen construction professionals. They're big or small, you call us, and we're going to take care of business for you.
That's a good metaphor. I was thinking, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I can't take care of that cold.
Yeah.
I only deal with major surgery.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone. We really appreciate your time. And please, you can call our offices at 604-264-7366 if your question can't wait. But if not, please email us at radio@fairtradeworks.biz. Coming up on the show today, we're going to be learning more about the new revised building code, which will be launched in January. Globe and Mail reporter Carrie Gold has been following the story closely. She'll join us to discuss what effects this will have on you, the homeowner, as well as the builders.
And if you love Versace, and yes, I did say Versace as in the designer name, you'll have to know that the world's first Versace home store is opening soon in Gastown. To tell us about what this means to our city, we'll be joined by Craig Patterson of Retail Insider. That's coming up next on Renovate and Build.
There's still lots more ahead. This is Renovate and Build, powered by Fair Trade Works with Jim and Sam.